My stepbrother sold my guitar and our parents grounded me for causing drama. So, I ruined his future. When I was 13, my dad married a woman named Denise, and she brought her son Kyle into our lives. Kyle was the same age as me, but you'd think he was made of gold the way everyone treated him. The moment they moved in, everything changed. Denise constantly bragged about how disciplined Kyle was, how he was top of his class, how mature he was, how polite. But what she didn't mention was that Kyle was a manipulative little tyrant who acted sweet in front of adults and made my life hell when no one was looking. He would accidentally break my stuff, then say I was the one being careless. He once erased a school paper from my laptop, and I got a 0 because my teacher didn't believe my excuse. Kyle later smirked and told me, "You should password protect your stuff if it's so important." My dad didn't believe me. He just said, "Try not to compete with him. It's not a race." It was always a race, one I wasn't even allowed to run in. Kyle got a brand new phone on his 14th birthday. I got a used backpack on mine. When I brought it up, my dad told me not to act entitled. The worst part? Kyle loved rubbing it in. He'd text me from his fancy iPhone while I was doing dishes and say things like, "Want me to Google how to not be bitter?" I swallowed it all for years. I figured it wasn't worth the fight. But things exploded when we both turned 17. I had been saving up for a secondhand guitar, nothing fancy, but it meant the world to me. I took side gigs, helped neighbors move, walked dogs, all of it. One day, I came home with my guitar, practically floating with happiness. Kyle saw it, rolled his eyes and said, "Cute, let me know when you grow out of your starving artist phase." A week later, the guitar disappeared. I tore apart my room, the garage, the living room, gone. I later found out Kyle had sold it online for cash to buy himself a gaming headset. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. Just said, "I didn't think you'd miss it that much. It wasn't even a real brand." I told my dad and Denise, showed them the listing and the messages from Kyle's profile, but they called it a boys will be boys moment and grounded me for causing drama. That was my final straw. 2 months later, Denise and my dad went out of town for a weekend getaway. Kyle was left in charge. I found his stash of weed, which he always hid in a hollowed-out copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, of all things. I took photos. Then, I emailed the pictures to our school principal from an anonymous email address, along with a screenshot of texts where he bragged about getting high during class. Kyle got suspended, stripped of his prefect position, and had his college rec letters pulled. When my dad came home, I just said, maybe next time, he should try not to be such a bad influence. I moved out 6 months later to live with my aunt. She helped me buy a new guitar, and I got into a local music program. My dad tried to reach out a few times, but I didn't respond. He made his choice. And Kyle? He ended up repeating senior year. Funny how the golden boy turned out to be gold-plated trash.